got through this. Easy for listening. I was able to do it. Easy for dancing. I'm not a great lover of cats. That's my fear. You're a disgrace, you are. Not me. That's my fear. You're a disgrace, you are.
Good evening and welcome to Shadowboxing, a special edition of Shadowboxing because tonight you may have noticed we don't have Tibor. Well, not in this seat at least. Hello, Paul Cook with you. We had an interesting development in the federal election last year where in September 2013 the Electoral Commission lost over 1,700 Senate votes in Western Australia. The result of this is that we in WA get to pass judgment on our current federal government 6 months into their first term by having a state Senate election for WA in the upper house in the federal parliament. Tibor Meszaros is the director, general manager of West TV. He has revitalised community television here in Perth. He is standing for the Wikileaks party. Tibor, welcome to Shadowboxing.
Hi, Paul.
You're obviously sitting on that side of the desk this evening because interviewing yourself would probably
conflict of interest, probably.
Well, might seem a little insane, perhaps. Tibor, I wanted to start off by asking you, what made you decide to pursue a career in politics?
It's not a career for me. I'm not a career politician, okay? So that's not a career for me. What made me decide, it's probably my experience with politics in the past years. And I just got enough. So I would like to make something different and make some changes.
And you have had interest in politics for a long time. Where did that start?
It started when I was almost a kid. It started back in Europe, in Hungary, when I migrated to Australia, and I've been involved a little bit with the movement of the unions there.
What made you decide in this Senate election to pick a ticket with the Wikileaks party?
That's not like a decision you make. It's sort of a coincidence in a way because Wikileaks as a party was not really interesting for me. But Wikileaks as an organization, for a journalist or for a television producer, always been an interest for me.
Was there a process within the party when it came to selecting people that would be on the ticket? Did you go to a party room? Was there a vote between people there?
Yes, it's all the candidates approved by the party room. So it's all endorsed by the executive of the party.
Because that's, I guess, one of the things with the Wikileaks party is it is a very new party, it's a very fresh party, so...
But want to be transparent and fair.
A lot of people may not have an understanding how it works, and we know, for instance, with the Labor Party, they have a problem with branch stacking. The Liberal Party claim they don't have such a problem, but obviously they have own interest groups within their party. How transparent for you was the process? Did it give you confidence when you were approached by the party to see that working?
It was nothing decided for me. Always I made the final decision. So that's good because that's democratic. And if you don't want to follow it, you not follow it. So that's fine. So there was not any pressure put on me to make decisions in any levels. I have to make my decision. And in the party, everyone got their own opinion. And everyone is entitled to have the opinion and represent something.
And you didn't have to go around. You didn't have to go around getting members to join up to get you into the seat either.
No, that's for sure.
You're also GM of a free-to-air TV station here in Perth, West TV. Do you think standing for an election and possibly getting a Senate ticket is going to interrupt or mess with your editorial independence?
I don't think so. Why and how?
Well, will it come down to editing decisions, or will it come down to things you promote or ideas you promote, or have you found some sort of synergy between what you're doing as a general manager for West TV and what the party represents?
I'm involved with community television in the past 14 years, so I know what we're doing for the communities, and we are providing platform for communities and minorities or minority parties or minority politics as well, which they couldn't find in here in Perth or in the country. So that's a mission. And I don't think it will change. And Wikileaks is definitely a minority party, but when decision is made on advertising by the party, it's no different from the decisions before made on any other parties.
When people are looking at their balance sheet on April the 5th, what does the Wikileaks party stand for? Are you a one-issue party? Is it freedom of everything everywhere, or is there a well-thought-out position?
It's not a one-issue party, definitely. This party has got opinions on all the issues we believe is relevant for the Australians.
And what is the main issue, do you think, the most relevant?
What is the main issue? The main issue, we need freedom, we need transparency, we need real democracy. We need to work with the people, because the people have been tricked by the system so many times, continuously. This party wants to make this clear.
One of the problems we have now in politics and in the world in general, in news services, in journalism, is we don't really know where the truth comes from or what is the truth, because there are so many sources. How would a party like Wikileaks be able to construct a framework that would give the public confidence that they are getting the whole picture and they're not getting a spin?
What we believe in is real democracy, and we know that the world suffers from the lack of democracy. What's happening in here, we are going and exercising our democratic rights every 3 or 4 years when election comes. And it's the same in the United States, same in Europe, and all the Western world, which is not enough, because when we are electing some politicians into power, we're giving them an unsigned blank check. And they do whatever they like to do with that, and that's what they do. Before the election, they promise the world, then they're not delivering. They're lying to the public continuously, both sides, all sides. And this needs to be stopped.
Coming back to my point, is you would ask them and they would say, well, no, we're not lying. We're telling you exactly how it is. That's how it is. And then a certain percentage of the public will believe that. A certain percentage won't. The idea is to be able to, how would WikiLeaks put that information forward and say, well, they're clearly not telling the truth, and then bring those people who are already cynical around so they go, hang on a minute, this party is different than what we've had before.
We believe that nothing could be secret or secretive in decision-making in Parliament. Why? Because the representatives, they're working for us. We should not work for them. And they have to realize that who pays the bills have the say. And that's not happening. So we have to force that into action.
Well, as a question on the, I guess, on the integrity, so for instance, a tobacco company comes to WikiLeaks and says, we would like to give you $40,000. Do you accept the money and make it known? Or do you have a stand on not accepting money from certain organisations who may look for a clandestine way within Parliament to get sway on a decision that they want?
Say, for example, the banks will offer us huge money because we want to have the banks reviewed, not just the Senate. We would like to have, and we fight for, having a Royal Commission on the banks. So if the bank's coming to us and say, you got $500 million from us, just stop this. We're not taking the money and not going to stop our actions. If any party, or us at least, accepting anything as a donation or a support for the party, we will make it sure everyone knows how much and which party and where we got it from.
So, for instance, in that scenario, you'll say, well, yes, they gave us $500 million, but we're still going to do the inquiry anyway.
Absolutely. That's the answer.
Superannuation.
Most likely they're not going to give us the money.
That may be a chance. What about proposed changes to the superannuation system as well? That figures in your party and in part of your politics. What are some of the big changes you'd like to see?
The main change which we need with superannuation, like with the banks, one of the main changes in the banks as well, we need to provide security for the people of Australia, which means the bank deposits need to be guaranteed in the ways of banks.
Always? The government would always guarantee public deposits?
Have to. They're not the government, the banks.
The banks themselves.
Guarantee. Sorry, not the government.
But if the bank falls over, they can't guarantee their own deposits unless we go back to having gold.
What do they say? They're too big to fall. That's why the government gives them the money. They're not letting them fall. In our books, they should fall. Because it doesn't matter how big they are, they should just disappear, because that's what they deserve, because they created the crisis, not us. And we should not pay for it ourselves. Back to superannuation, just quickly, want to make it secured. You know the name of the superannuation since the Howe government and Keating introduced it? It was Secured Superannuation for All Workers of Australia. Where's the security? That's just disappeared. It's in the name only. It's not secured.
Do you think
tens of billions of dollars just disappeared from that market?
Do you think part of the problem is that people, especially young people now, they pay compulsory superannuation from the first day they go to work. They don't really understand the consequences of that superannuation over a period of time. Perhaps they don't particularly understand that perhaps by the time they retire, they may not be a pension. Do you think there's a lack of understanding in the community?
And they don't understand the main thing. If they're paying as much superannuation as they have to pay now, compulsory, that's not enough for a retirement, comfortable life. It's physically, it's mathematically not even add up.
We talk about raising it to 12%. As a party, do you have an arbitrary figure on what you believe superannuation will be?
It's not the figure which is important. It's the security of the superannuation to become secured, and you can retire on superannuation. That's the main thing. That's the key word. Secured superannuation, not just with the security, the money not going to disappear before you retire, 1 week before, but it's secure, so it's give you the security to return and retire.
So does the government then
Which is none of them exist currently.
Does the government give you a guarantee on your superannuation but not a guarantee on the bank? So if your superannuation is managed by one of the big four banks and you're allowing one of the big four banks to fall, your superannuation could go with that. How do you resolve that?
To resolve it, first of all, we need to have the reform on the banking system. And the reform, which is basic and essential, is that we have to separate the two banking activities. One is the deposits of the people and the businesses. That need to be in the bank. The investment banking and the speculation and the gambling should happen outside of that. So the bank need to be separated with the activity. That's happened before in history in the 20th century in the United States and all over the world after. That's called the Glass-Steagall.
Tibor Meszaros, thank you for chatting with us this evening. We're talking all things Wikileaks on shadow boxing. We're going to take a little break and then we're going to be back with the other Senate candidate for the Wikileaks party in WA, Lucy Nichol.